Exciting! Neo Geo! Max 330メガの劇的体験 Neo Geo System SNK.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series, Neo Nostalgia, where I take a look at some of my favorite Neo Geo games of all time. And today I can't actually say that is true, because we're taking a look at SNK versus Capcom Chaos. And I will say, when this game was announced and when previews were coming out, I was super excited to play this game. SNK was developing a crossover fighter with Capcom and Street Fighter, and it was made in the SNK style. This was supposed to be one of the best games of all time coming from SNK, and after I purchased it on the Neo Geo, I do own an original cartridge, and playing it, I can safely say that's not the game we got. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, down below hit like and subscribe, that notification bell definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. Now, you can't fault SNK for the character roster. There's a ton of depth here, both on the SNK side and the Capcom side, and so many hidden playable characters you can unlock easiest with a Unibios. There's nothing at face value bad about this game. This might not be the most exciting background ever, but it's not bad. The reality is, this game just squanders all of its potential. SNK was known for making absolutely spectacular fighting games, as was Capcom. You put those two together and you expect a sum of the parts that's greater than those individual parts. The problem was, at this point in time, SNK was basically bankrupt. They were going the way of the dodo. This is a Playmore release. It was after SNK, the first iteration, had closed, and these were games that were tried to be done on a little bit cheaper of a budget, and unfortunately it does show. And that's not to say it's not fun. A fun game and a good game are different things. I can have fun with SVC Chaos. Playing as the Mars people is absolutely spectacular, and the sprites they made are well animated and they're fun, and being able to play as an ancillary character from the Metal Slug series is a ton of fun. It makes you smile when you're playing it, and when you win, the character portrait's absolutely hilarious. A lot of the other issue with this game comes in the balance, but we will talk about that in a bit. I do love these portraits, and Nude Play is such a weird name, but it's so much fun to watch the Mars people fighting against Guile. Where did you ever expect that to be something you could see? Now granted, Mars people are a hidden character, and I'm just doing this for the fun factor. But if you haven't noticed yet in the backgrounds, they are not bad, but this is uninspired compared to a lot of what we would see on the Neo Geo previous to this game. All the developers, all of the artists at SNK should have had a great working knowledge of the hardware by that point in time, and these backgrounds are just so static. You get a couple glowing lamps on the pillars, and they do have a decent sense of depth and vanishing point, but outside of that chandelier rocking back and forth, nothing's really happening. And if you can't tell, the flow to this match is not very good either. The AI is absolutely just broken in spots. Playing against the CPU just does not give you anything. It's either incredibly easy or suddenly becomes incredibly difficult. And I'll show you later in the video some of the absolutely absurd things you can get the AI to do if you just kind of bait it around a little bit. And that's just the bummer about this game. It should have been incredible. You see glimpses of that in the power generation room with those pseudo 3D cogs spinning around, but I don't know what SNK was going for here, because these backgrounds barely have any color. Now the storyline is basically this is a end of the world scenario, and Capcom and SNK, or the universes, are fighting against each other to see how it resolves. But just because the world might be ending doesn't mean all the color ran out of it. We got such vibrant colors in things like Gero, Mark of the Wolves, and King of Fighters, and this game just kind of drops all of that. Of course, the characters here, like Red Armorer, he is nice and colorful, but the background is just like 3 shades of gray fading off into white. I mean, you do get a good dynamic range. You can see detail in the white. That's an impressive look, but otherwise, just not that exciting. And then we go to the Crystal Shrine, and we basically have the exact same thing here. It's like 4 colors, and I don't know why SNK would have done that. But, I mean, seeing Mars people fight Bison, that is a ton of fun. I will say the soundtrack is, in my opinion, quite good, so go ahead and listen for like 45 seconds, and I'll come back and talk about more of how this game was a disappointment. Enjoy!
No escape!
I mean, the soundtrack's decent, you can't knock it for that, but moving on to Station Obsolete here again, it's just lacking any sort of interest in the backgrounds. I get it, it's a fighting game, the character portraits are good, and the sprites are well animated like SNK you would expect, but damn it, they have no life in here. And down to the mechanics again, there just seems to be some ways to kind of cheese the game. Mai here, her flying ass attack, I do not know what it's called, but we're going with that, basically could win you any single match. If you just keep spamming it enough, you will take enough off your opponent's life bar to win the match. And I'm sure that's how a lot of people would like to die. Leave me a comment down below, I can't wait to see what that joke entails. But it just shows a lack of balance in the game. There's some moves that you can basically just repeat over and over again, and you can see a victory, because maybe 50% of these attacks are being blocked, but if you just keep spamming it over and over again, you're basically going to get the victory no matter what you do. And there's multiple characters in the game where that is a quote-unquote feature, where there's one attack that just seems to be able to beat past everything else. But again, this is just a situation where its lack of potential. When this game was being previewed, everyone was talking about it, everyone was excited about it. When this game came out, we got something that we did not expect. A dull, disappointing, lifeless SNK fighting game that incorporated Capcom characters, and you get to something like the Abandoned Factory here. This has nothing going on. Sure, it's got a nice perspective and it does look abandoned, you can at least give them that, but there's nothing else to see. That is a huge miss. It's just one big blob of brown. There's a little bit of animation in the water, but otherwise nothing happens. And because the gameplay is pretty unbalanced and some spots feeling a little bit broken, you can't even say, well, the art's not great, but the gameplay is amazing. You say the art's not great and the gameplay is middling at best. SNK never used to disappoint us, and that's why this is kind of that second SNK, the PLAYMORE years. And it's not to knock anybody that worked on these games, because I know the budgets are way smaller than what they would have been back in the heyday of the Neo Geo. The team that was working on King of Fighters 98 did not have the same financial ability as the team that was working on something like this, but that doesn't stop it from being disappointing. Seeing Sagat here with an SNK style sprite though, that is fun. And the game can have life. If we go over to the practice round and we play as Red Armor here, this situation looks so much better. But I will tell you, trying to get to one of these secret stages, you have got to be absolutely incredible. If memory serves, to get to Athena's level here, you need to win all of the first 7 matches, 5 of them ending in supers, just to see this stage. Let's move on to another hidden stage. You can access all the backgrounds in the practice menu. This also looks really good. I do not know why they didn't put the same amount of effort into these stages that they did the main stages you normally see. But I told you I'd let you listen to a little bit more soundtrack, because that is a good quality of the game. So go ahead and listen for like 25 more seconds and I will be right back. I mean, solid soundtrack for sure, but here's the situation against Gonitz here. I can just run the timer out. He's going to keep spamming these little tornadoes, and if I just stand here, that's all he's going to do. This is on normal difficulty, and sometimes this is what the game is just going to give you. A situation where you can stand and do absolutely nothing and win a match. That timer runs out, and we have our victory, and that's not something you would expect to see in either a Capcom game or an SNK game. And the other biggest unfortunate circumstance is there's not different styles of fighting. Something like Capcom, you get the isms or things like that. Even in King of Fighters games, you sometimes see different means of doing the same thing. This game just gives it to you straight. You get your characters, everything's on 4 buttons, and you play it. It is interesting to play as Street Fighter characters with a 4-button setup though. That takes a little bit of brain training. But the conclusion of this video is, this game can be fun with friends. Playing the secret characters is a good time, but this is the first and only video on this series that I want to talk about where I will say SNK and the Neo Geo let me down. Leave me a comment down below, tell me what you think of the game. Short of that, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.